In this video, we are going to organize this hot mess of a fabric stash together and go from this to this. Hi everyone, Marie here. Let me talk you through what you're going to need in order to organize your fabric with me. So first, there is backing boards. These are, it is not my idea by any means. This is an idea that comes from the sewing community, namely, for example, from Melanie Ham, who has talked about it on her sewing channel. These are comic book backing boards, and they are made for long-term archival storage. So they are perfectly fine to use in vicinity of your fabric storage, and they are very good price. So I bought this on Amazon here in the UK. I'm sure in the US you'd have a similar product, but maybe not the same made in Germany brand. This was a pack of 100 and it cost me £19, which I find is an excellent deal. So I'm going to be using these to wrap the fabric around it. Then some of my fabrics have got a tag from where I buy them from, and I really like that. So for those who don't have the tag, I have purchased this little tagging gun from Amazon and these little craft paper tags, and I'm going to be making tags for times when I take the fabric off of my backing board, and just to make sure that, you know, my fabric doesn't get mixed up. Then I'm going to be using these quilting pins to secure the fabric on the board. I'm going to be cutting the board to size. This might not be applicable to everybody, but I decided to use a box that I had available at home already, because reduce, reuse, recycle, right? Reducing is not that easy when you're a crafter, but we can definitely reuse. So I'm going to make this smaller so that it fits perfectly my box that I am using as a fabric storage, and also a pen just to put a note about the fabric on the boards and on my craft paper, and also my beloved quilting ruler to help me cut precisely, and also a self-healing mat. I work on this mat all the time. I have it on my table. Also, you see it often in these videos, and it's perfectly fine to cut with a very sharp knife on it, and it sort of doesn't do any damage to it. So let me show you how I did it. So first I'm going to be cutting my board to size. They just come in one size. I don't think you can choose much, so I found it easier to just adapt them to the size of the storage that I've got, and I need to cut them to 10 by 5. So I'm going to quickly do that. So I've got a couple here. One side is a little bit shinier, one is a little bit more matte. It really doesn't matter which one is which. And what I saw in the sewing fabric organization video is that in quilting shops you can buy these sort of pre-made cards that have a little cutout in here so that you can sort of hook your fabric in. So I am just doing it. I'm just freehanding it. And I'm using it to put my fabric in, just as simple as this. Now I'm going to take my fabric. I've got a fat 1/8 in here, so relatively small piece of fabric. So because cross-stitching fabric is, you know, different sizes, you might have scraps. Just try beforehand what works best. I might just, I'm just gonna leave it, you know, fold it in half, and I am going to wrap around it as it is, and I'm just going to be keeping sort of this the tag on the outer side. So let me sort of hook this in a bit. It doesn't really hold extremely well, of course. It's not like pinning it down, but it still helps to keep it in one place. And then you just wrap around as tightly as you can. Then I'm going to take my quilting pins. They are a little bit longer, that's all. And I'm going to see which way do I pin it. So in this case, I'm going to try to use the selvage here and sort of the end of it so that I sort of pierce through as little sort of normal fabric as possible. It's not really necessary to be that careful. It's just a really, really sharp, thin pin, but you know what? Precaution. That's all, right? So, and that's it. So I've got my fabric wrapped around and I am going to write down what my fabric is on here. But I do like to keep this because quite often when I decide which fabric am I going to be using for which project, I unfold it, I put my my threads on top of the fabric, I take pictures, I sort of spend time deciding which fabric is the best fabric for that particular project. So if I unfolded like 5 similar shaded fabrics next to each other, it would take me quite a long time to then think, oh, which one was that one and which one was that one. So that's why I am writing what is what on the board, but I am also keeping the tag, and the fabrics that don't have the tag, I am going to be creating it so that whenever I take it off the board, I still know exactly what fabric do I hold in my hands. Perfect, so that's done. It's quite secure. It's not too tight, but quite secure. Let me put it away. Here I've put an example where I got my fabric, but it doesn't have the tag. So I know what the fabric is, but I just need to create the tag. Going to be grabbing this. I'm actually going to grab this end just because this is the end that has been serged, so I'm just going to put the unserged end in because this is likely going to be fraying. So I'm going to keep the part that is not going to be fraying on the outside so that it frays as least as possible. Now I'm going to take this tag and I'm going to write on it. I am going to put it somewhere in this corner. This is an excellent corner, the selvage corner. Like I'm not worried about damaging like these ends of the fabrics. Damaging, it's not really damaging it, so you don't think that you're doing something terrible to your fabric. But I'm not worried about piercing a hole through here, because anyways when I start stitching on this, there is going to be maybe a 2-inch or maybe even 3-inch margin, so I'm not worried that I'm going to be having to make a hole through here. And anyways, any hole in cross-stitching fabric is just going through an existing hole already, isn't it? So I'm going to go through here, pierce the fabric. The only thing is that it is quite a bit larger than your needle, and then I'm going to just push it through, right, and then I'm going to push it off, and that's it. Like literally, that is it. I've got my tag here, and I am going to just wrap it around just as before. Nice and sort of semi-tight. You also don't want to like tighten it too much, because cross-stitching fabric easily takes on a shape or a crease. So I just sort of keep it a bit relaxed. Now let me take my pin and let me pin it through. And again, I've got my selvage here, so I am going to take it through the selvage, and this is the end of the fabric. So again, I've got like 3 inches here where I just absolutely don't need to be worried about the fabric like at all because it won't be stitched on. Let me show you the last example. This is an excellent example where I have just sort of kept the fabric loose. I don't have any tag on it, and I sort of don't remember anymore what this fabric is. Now I'm going to let you in on a secret. I happen to know exactly what this fabric is because it is one of my favorite fabrics. It is 32 count Zweigart linen. The shade is called flax, and it is an absolutely, you know, lovely natural colored linen. But let's pretend that I just can't remember what it is. How am I going to find out what the count is? Now, first of all, I can see that it is linen. If you're wondering how can I see that, there are irregularities, there are little bits and bobs in here. It feels natural, which means it is linen. If it was exactly the same, evenly woven, you know, then you would know it's an even weave. It would have absolutely no blobs like this, and it would also feel a little bit more synthetic because even weave has got a synthetic added into the cotton or whichever blend it is. Now, to find out what count am I dealing with, I am going to take my quilting ruler here, and if you remember from our fabric videos on this channel, how to find a count of fabric is to count the number of holes in an inch. It is not a square inch, it is just a length of 1 inch on the fabric itself. So let me grab a pin here so that I can better keep track, and let me make the count. 30, 31, 32. In this case, it is exactly spot on. That doesn't happen very often. If it's listed as 32 count, I would expect to count anywhere between 30 to 34 holes per inch, because it's not woven exactly evenly. So it is possible that where you're measuring, it is, you know, there might be a bigger concentration, just like here, for example. So it might skew the count a little bit. With fabrics that are not hand dyed, you will probably be very much spot on, like 32, maybe 31, maybe 33. But where you're getting hand dyed fabrics that have been, you know, over dyed after, you know, not by the manufacturer but by hand, by somebody, there is a certain shrinkage, so you might be expecting to count 34 or 35 holes per inch on a 32 count. If you can't remember the exact shade of your fabric, it really doesn't matter, unless you're absolutely insisting on keeping track of what you're stitching on. It doesn't matter as long as you're happy with the way your project looks on the fabric. It doesn't matter what's the name of the fabric, to be honest. And now I just have to do the same with all of these and come back to you with the result. While I am working on organizing my fabric stash, I just wanted to talk to you about our new membership that you can newly purchase on our e-shop, caterpillarcrossstitch.com. So Sally has launched this membership 2023, and you get a really amazing package. You get your own unique discount code for 10% of all products on every order that you placed when you're a member. early access to Stitching Social and any event tickets or Stitch Along pre-orders. You will also get a new exclusive design needle minder only for members, so that will not be available anywhere else, and also 3 new exclusive PDF patterns only for members. Also, you will get a £10 e-gift voucher and 6 live online events with Sally. You will also get like special newsletter, monthly newsletter. So if we're counting correctly, for £59 you're getting 3 patterns, you're getting a £10 e-voucher, you're getting a 10% discount of all products. So just these couple of things only pay for themselves, and on top of that you get all that early access, and you get stitching events with Sally where you can meet her and other stitchers, and also early access to everything Sally does at Caterpillar Cross Stitch. This membership is only available to purchase until end of January, so only a couple of days left. So if that is something that you'd be interested in and you don't know about it yet, I encourage you to head over to eShop so that you don't miss out. If this is the sort of thing that you'd like to be informed about, if new products and new things launched by Caterpillar Cross Stitch is something that you are interested in, please consider signing up to our newsletter. The link is in the description below, aka VIP Stitch Club. You will get 10% discount on your first order in return for signing up, and also 8 free patterns in PDF delivered directly to your inbox. And before I show you the result and give you my last few tips on fabric stash organization, let me just say that if you do enjoy our patterns and the community, I would encourage you to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and perhaps TikTok if that is your thing. We share an awful lot of inspiration and stitching videos and all sorts of tips and tricks on our other channels as well. And there is a 16,000 plus members, a large Facebook group that anybody can join. And now let's see how my organized fabric looks like. And this is what my fabric stash looks like now, nice and organized. I can see at first glance what is in. I have decided to organize it by count, so I'm going from the highest count to the lowest count, and then ADAs are over here. As you can see, I'm a neutral palette type of stitcher, so I didn't have to sort of do a vivid color section and a neutral color section. So just organize it as you see fit, and the way it works best for you and the way you work with your fabric. If you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up to let us know that we should be making more of these tutorials in the future. As always, thank you so much for your support, for watching, and I'll see you next week.